Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of The Watch Collector. My name is Ollie. Today we've got actually a brand I've never had the fortune of getting to look at previously. I think they've done amazing things since they were first born, shall we say. But before we do, obligatory wristwatch check. I'm wearing the Chapek Antarctique Passage de Drake in salmon. So M.B.F. Started by Maximilian Busser in 2005, launched their very first watch in 2007 called the Horological Machine #1. Now, let's face it, for the vast majority of watch enthusiasts, if you know anything about this brand, their watches are out of reach for them. They are up to and way over six figures for their creations, if you can actually get hold of one. For me, I absolutely adore their perpetual calendar. I think it's outstanding. The finishing and depth of their watches is just top drawer. So absolutely hats off to them over the last 18 years for what they have created. But here we've got, let's say, an M.B.F. anomaly, and this is the M.A.D.1. Why is it an anomaly? Well, because it's not 100,000 or 200,000. It's around £5,000. And to be able to get something like this on your wrist, I think is pretty special. And they've really brought to bear their ingenuity and imagination in creating this watch that is far more accessible than the rest of theirs. So it's a 42mm stainless steel case. It's not for the faint of hearted, as I'm going to show you shortly. It's 18mm in depth, has a 60-hour power reserve. And you might look at it, as hopefully you can see on the camera right now, and wonder, how on earth do you tell the time? Well, first of all, you don't tell the time by the dial, because actually, if I can get it going, it has this turbine effect for when you look at it as if you were in a traditional sense. It's got an inverted motor 821A movement in it. So you're actually looking at the back of the watch from the front, and I actually quite like the way that they've demonstrated so the back of it with the contrast of the red, with the finishing of the grey of the movement. But actually, how you tell the time on this watch is from the 6 o'clock position. Before we get to that, you'll note that you've got the crown at 12 o'clock, and then if you flip it up, you then have two aluminium cylinders. Hopefully that's coming up on the camera, and it's approximately 11:55. So black for the hours and red for the minutes. Your initial reaction may well be, that must be almost impossible to read. Surely that's not going to work. Let me tell you something. I'm going to throw it on the wrist right now. It works really well. I'm going to put it on and show you. Now, first of all, love the fact it's got a deploying clasp. Extremely secure, super chunky, but as I said, really feels like this watch has been engineered, not just made, engineered. I really love that. And the strap is supportive, again, extremely sporty. Love the fact you've got deep holes within it for those who do get sweaty wrists. But overall, love the execution of this. But actually, if you think about how you're wearing your watch, see, I wear it on my left hand, it's ingenious the way you literally just flip your watch over slightly and you can see the time. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to demonstrate this for the camera, but hopefully you can see that. And it gives you an idea, we'll get some close-ups, it gives you an idea of actually just how legible this is, when common sense probably dictates that it's not. So this, as a, let's say, extremely entry level for M.B.F., is, I don't think, any less ingenious than everything else that they've created. It's completely different to any other watch that I've seen. Yes, okay, it uses the movement that I explained. Okay, it doesn't have full skeletonization as you've seen from their, let's say, true haute horology holy grail pieces, but it still has that little bit of flair and imagination that you would expect to come out from M.B.F. Overall, I'm somewhat taken aback by it. It's also, so not for the faint of hearted, but it's also not that heavy. Bearing in mind the thickness of it, I think probably because the dials are aluminium as opposed to stainless steel, perhaps a little bit lighter. So overall, it's extremely wearable. It's extremely distinctive, and you know, my first impressions are, wow, that's pretty cool for something that is, as I said, about £5,000, not to be sniffed at, but for a piece of MB&F magic, I think it'd be very difficult to go wrong. So that's my review of the M.A.D.1 Red. I think it is truly mad, but also truly wonderful in equal measure. Let me know what you think in the comments, and until next time, thanks so much for joining.